If I'm in as a woman, I'm changing clothes in the locker room because I use the gym when I'm up here in D.C., the women's gym, and a man shows up and his genitalia, his penis is in the room, no. Like, I'm not, it's not okay.
The American people are tired of being an ATM machine for the illegal aliens that are coming across our border every single day.
There's a big difference between being like pro-civil liberties and then being pro-women. Women have rights, and we're not going to erase them.
Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace made a name for herself fighting the transgender issue, among others, and she's hoping to ride that wave into the South Carolina governor's mansion. She launched her gubernatorial bid this morning at her alma mater, the Citadel in Charleston. Polling right now, she's in the lead, 16%. Competition, South Carolina's Attorney General Alan Wilson at 15%, 52% undecided ahead of the June primary. With us now, Congresswoman Mace from South Carolina. Good to see you, ma'am. You told the New York Times that you were prepared to be a super MAGA governor. What exactly does super MAGA mean?
Well, to follow President Trump's agenda, we have a real opportunity in 2026 to deliver America First policy state by state in the midterm elections. And we need governors who are going to take that lead and implement those policies. I'm from a bright red state in South Carolina. And wouldn't you know, Leland, last year we had a sanctuary sheriff that had gone rogue and was letting out illegal aliens right here in South Carolina who were rapists, who were murderers, who were pedophiles. And so when I'm governor, Leland, I say, not on my watch. And that is an America First policy.
Okay. New York Magazine, The Intelligencer, Nancy Mace will drag South Carolina's governor's race into the sewer. I think pretty much every political race is in the sewer already, but for those who disagree, is that a fair criticism that you've traded or become perhaps a little more direct and brash than you used to be?
No, not at all. And in fact, I mean, these fights are worth fighting for, whether we're talking about illegal immigration or men and women's spaces, or in my case, in the state of South Carolina, we have the highest state income tax in the Southeast. There's nothing combative about wanting a bigger, better, and brighter future for the entire state of South Carolina. And in fact, contrary to the mainstream media, I'm actually one of the top legislative lawmakers in Congress. I'm ranked in the 10 or 12th in the 1.59% of all 435 lawmakers on the Hill in the House. I'm one of the top ones. We draft 2 to 3 bills a week. And in fact, this morning when I unveiled my campaign for governor of South Carolina, I unveiled an 8-point plan to make our state more prosperous, how to improve education, how to reduce taxes, how to stem the tide of illegal immigration, all of those things. It was a very policy-oriented speech. So I would say that the mainstream media didn't see the same speech that I spoke at this morning.
Okay. Well, 1.59% is a very specific number that was presented. I've never heard of such a specific number here on the program, but you have tied yourself directly to Donald Trump. Super MAGA governor, referring to the pro-Trump Make America Great Again movement. It will be Trump in high heels, you told the New York Times. How important is it for Donald Trump to endorse you?
Well, I think that in any race in the country, for governor or Congress or Senate, on down the ballot, Donald Trump's presidential endorsement, I mean, his endorsement as president, is key to the success of any race. I mean, he is a kingmaker, in this case, possible queen maker in the race for governor of South Carolina. And I will work, hey, I'm being dead serious, okay? And I will work very hard to earn it. We've got to raise money. People can go to nancymace.org and chip in $1 tonight. By midnight, we're raising a lot of money today, more than any other candidate in the race for governor in South Carolina so far. I'm going to do more in 10 hours what my nearest opponent fundraising did in 10 days. And so we're also unveiling policies that Donald Trump, I believe, will support, and we're going to work hard to earn his endorsement, to earn his support.
Congresswoman, I know it's been a very long day for you. Congratulations. And as I've often said about you, it must have been quite a day to return to the Citadel to announce for governor, considering what it was like there to go to college as, I believe, the first woman to graduate?
Yes, sir. Deeply humbling. 26 years ago.
Wow. Full circle. Congratulations. Soak it in. It's good to see you, ma'am.
Good to see you, too. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.